In your developing news tonight, police are still looking for two men who they say shot an Edinburg police officer multiple times. He is now recovering from those injuries and has been released from McAllen Medical Center. Action Force Ashley Custer has been following the story since it broke. She's now live from the crime scene with the latest on the overnight shooting.
Police have blocked off the 800 block of South 20th Street here in Edinburg for most of today. In fact, within just the last hour, they cleared the crime scene. And as you can see behind me, that red house is where the shootout took place last night, and detectives have been combing through that property for the last several hours. And people in the area we've spoken to say they're still too terrified to speak on camera, especially after hearing several gunshots last night. Edinburg police say agencies across the valley have reached out and offered to volunteer their services. At this time, Police Chief Rolando Castaneda says there are about 125 law enforcement members patrolling the streets in search of two men armed with semi-automatic weapons. The shooting happened around 11 last night when an Edinburg police officer was responding to what he thought was a disturbance call. Upon arriving at that residence, he realized he had walked in on an active home invasion. Some eyewitnesses say they heard up to 12 gunshots. However, at this time, investigators are not releasing information on the number of rounds fired at that officer. They are also not releasing his name.
Saved himself from all, and by paying attention and being trained where it becomes an instinct. He don't have to think about it. He knows what he needs to do.
Investigators say it all happened within a matter of minutes, and the officer did manage to dodge some of the bullets. He suffered non-threatening gunshot wounds to each leg. Action 4 News asked if the homeowners were being targeted. Police said that is still under investigation.
We do know that they did make forced entry. They did have the homeowners at gunpoint. They were demanding money, drugs, and weapons.
The suspects immediately took off on foot, initiating a full-on search throughout the night. One is described as a young Hispanic male between the ages of 20 and 30 years old, about 5'6" in height and 165 pounds. He was last seen wearing a white shirt and gray pants. The other is described as a taller, more slender Hispanic male. Now, local, state, and federal agencies are assisting the Edinburg police in search of these two men who are considered armed and dangerous. Police say that the area, which was blocked off, has now been cleared, so people can go about their regular business. We'll continue to bring you developments on this story on Twitter and on Facebook. For now, live in Edinburg, I'm Ashley Custer, Action 4 News.
Thank you, Ashley, for all that information. Anyone with more information on where those suspects may be is urged to call Crime Stoppers at 383-TIPS.